Julie Andrews saying, let's start at the very beginning, it's a very good place to start. And I think that's a very good idea, although I'm not going to burst into song, and I'm sure some of you probably already are at this point. But if we're going to start at the very beginning, I guess the good question to ask is, if we want to be disciples, then who is it that we're following? A few years ago I faced one of the biggest challenges of my life. My wife was dying, and I found myself saying, what do I really believe? I needed to know that God was real, I needed to know that He was true, and I needed to know that if I was going to give my life to follow someone, I had to know who it was I was following, and I had to know that He was trustworthy. So I began an exercise in looking into some of the evidence for what I believed, and one of the principles behind that is the idea of revelation, that God has revealed Himself to us because He wants a relationship with us. Tell me what you see. I guess for some people what they'll say is they'll see a river, or they'll see a city. Some people might even say what they see is Lancaster, the River Lune, a beautiful set of trees. The truth is, unless somebody actually tells us what it is that we're looking at, that this is the city of Lancaster, we wouldn't know where we were. We live in a beautiful world that just points towards the existence of a creator, the existence of a higher power, the existence that there's somebody out there other than us. The reality is though, unless that person who created everything chose to reveal Himself to us, we wouldn't actually know who He was. The whole of creation points towards the existence of someone out there, somebody who created all things. But it doesn't actually tell us who that person is. It doesn't actually give us their identity. And that's probably why there's so many different religions in the world, because we can clearly see that there is somebody out there. But who is that person? Of course, it wasn't always that way. If you turn with me to Genesis chapter 1, what we see in Genesis 1 is the story that God made all things and then put us into this creation He's made, this beautiful creation, in order that we might have that relationship with Him. And to begin with, it was perfect. To begin with, it was completely unspoiled. We had that closeness, that intimacy with God. And then it was because of our choices as humanity to rebel against God that we lost that revelation. We lost that sense of being with God. And the sad thing is, that was never meant to be that way. We were always meant to have a relationship with God. And the story of that we read in the Bible, it begins with that relationship. And if you fast forward to the very end, it shows us that relationship being put back together in the way it was always meant to be. And the story of humanity is a story between the two bookends. It starts with God creating all things for us to have a relationship with Him, us losing that, and the story of how that relationship is reborn. But what we also see when we look at the account of humanity is that God, desiring a relationship with us, begins to reveal Himself time and time again to different people. And as we journey through the Old Testament, we see God revealing Himself to different people at different times. And through those encounters, and those encounters being documented and written down in the Bible, we begin to learn something of who it is that's inviting us into a relationship with Him.